costs, or just changing your water heater, your furnace, or whatever with low cost, high operating costs. With our work in energy research and energy audits, we have discovered the more of an energy pig your house is, the more the return on investment is for a very highly efficient furnace. If you live in a very efficient home, very energy efficient, well insulated, no drafts, all of that, you're not using a whole lot of energy to begin with. So it doesn't behoove you to spend $10,000 on a furnace because you're only going to save, 10% of a small budget. Whereas if you're in an older home, I live in a 50, 60-year-old home, love it, but it is not terribly energy efficient, and I have a very efficient furnace because I'm buying these units. Does that all make sense in the economy of all this? The more we're wasting, the better we need to buy it. So, okay. On we go. Accessible improvements. This is a big deal. This is a real passion for me. Accessibility. I'm 60 years old. My body is much different in the last 10 years than it was when I was 50. My eyes are different. When I bend down to tie my shoes, I don't have any trouble tying the shoes. It's just a longer way up from my shoes every day. I know this. You know this. We watched our parents. We watched our grandparents. We watched our generations. We read this book. We know how it turns out. We can prepare for this or not. Whether you're planning for your retirement, whether you're planning for your retirement, whether it's financial wealth, whether it's your home serving you and us, I urge you to really look into the improvements of your home because it's important. We get called generally on a Monday, I need a bathroom on the first floor by Friday. My husband's coming home. He had a fall. He's been in recovery for about 5 weeks, and I need to get him. He can't walk steps for the next 2 months. Really? I can't get a permit in 2 weeks, much less a bathroom installed in 4 days. So I urge you, my biggest problem with accessible improvements is denial. I'm not aging. I don't need it. It's too much. Well, think of the cost of assisted care, nursing home, all those various services that we buy in later life. The longer we can live in our homes, the better off it is. Over here on the right is a ramp, and it looks like a wheelchair ramp. It's for the lady to get down to her garden. She loves her garden. Life to her was being in the grass. So going down steps, she could walk steps. But we put this in 6 or 7 years ago. She fell and broke her ankle. And only then did she really appreciate it. But she had the foresight to build this 6 years earlier than she needed. So I urge you to think about that. 2 professional certifications, CAPS, Certified Aging in Place Specialist, CAPS. And the other one is a UDCP, Universal Design Certified Professional. 2 different, kind of like the National League and the American League, but they're both doing the same thing, so they call it, and they have 2 different trainings. They're both measurements of experience, training, and testing of knowing at least what the basics are to put in residences as a house. We have many in my company. We have licensed architects as well because it's important to get this stuff right. The idea is spend it once, use it twice. Don't do the job twice, spend it twice, and use it once. So get it right the first time. So getting the right planning ahead as well as starting. I'm now 60 years old. In the next 10 years, I'm going to want people around my home less and less and less. I just don't want to mess with you coming in and making a mess in my home. So there's an advisable time. Really, I joke like that, but there's a time in later years when I just don't want people coming messing with my house. So I urge you to get it done at a time when you're willing to have house guests. And these are house guests. And I describe our company as, you will love us. We are fabulous. You will love it when we come, and you will love it when we go. Because it's like having house guests, family. It's not a function of how much you love them. They stayed for 2 months. So that's kind of like realize when you're going to do these fixtures and improvements. Also, think about getting in and out of the house, basic human rights. If there's a fire here, we know how to get out. There are exit lights and there's exit signs and things that help us assist taking care of ourselves. Think about your home. We think about grab bars and wheelchair ramps, wide doors. my goodness, make sure you can get outside of your house in a fire. And whoever is living there with you, as well as your guests that might come by, they're generally going to be about the same mobility or ability level as ourselves, as our house guests. So keep in mind getting them in and out of the house, in and out of the car. If you have a down-sloping driveway on a day like today with ice, they park on the street and then they walk up that driveway that might be a little bit wet, have just a little bit of moisture on, freezes to ice. That's a hazardous thing. So now the guest falls. I run out there and now I fall. So these are all ways that we pay attention to keeping the home residents safe. But it also is a good investment because here you go. If you were to look for an accessible home in St. Louis at this time, where would you look? They really don't exist. So supply and demand, high return on investment is accessible improvements around the home. But my big message is start early, start now, get a plan, do it before you need it. It will be a saleable asset because there just aren't too many accessible homes. And the ones that are out there are pretty unattractive as well. Okay, so daily activities, one of the riskiest things for aging in place or staying put, universal design, is going out to the mail, taking care of your pet, picking up the newspaper, taking out the trash. It is very important. Just the simple things in life are the place to start. Bathrooms and kitchens, these are self-care rooms. We spend a lot of time taking care of ourselves, feeding ourselves, preparing food, bathing ourselves, cleaning, brushing our teeth, all those things that it takes just to get us out in the world safely and back home. Kitchens and bathrooms have been ignored with the downturn and the recession because they're expensive. There will be a lot of bathroom and kitchen work here in the next 10 years. Steve Waddell referred to the recovery. You'll see more and more of that happening. If you find yourself doing kitchen work or bathroom work, please consider the universal design and the aging in place aspects of that. Find somebody who can guide you through that with a good plan and execute it early. Realize though, this bathroom on the left, there's a seating area for drying. So coming out of the shower, there's a place to sit. This is not a particularly accessible bathroom, but that one feature, we oftentimes make bathtub ledges wider, wide enough to get your bum down and sit safely and dry ourselves. Women for years have known, sit down in the shower. For shaving legs, we men were a little bit slow on the uptake, so we go out in the yard and we work very hard, and then we get soap in our eyes, we get vertigo, and then only then will we sit down. So a seat in the shower, a place where you can get to a trustworthy perch, is a safe way to bathe. And if you have any kind of an issue, soap in the eye, shampoo in the eye, you can sit down. So keep that in mind. Multiple work surfaces in kitchens. If I'm going to stand and work, it's your standard kitchen countertop. But think about that. If I'm injured, say I twisted a knee, I might want to sit down at the normal seated height and have a table work height. So the kitchen table becomes a work height for cutting vegetables and cooking. So then in our kitchens we tend to adjust multiple work heights for standing, seating. Could be a wheelchair, could be a walker, could be a chain or a cane. It could be just leaning with the hip against the countertop, multiple work heights. So bathrooms and kitchens are going to become more and more as we go forward. Remember social and gathering spaces. If you're in the home and you need a little bit of ability or mobility assistance, likewise will the guests. So think in terms of who's coming to your home and visiting, because family gatherings nowadays typically may have 3 or 4, sometimes 5 generations, and all have different ability and needs. Well, thank you for participating. My company is Mosby Building Arts. We're available on the web, and we'd love to help you with anything. Please tune in to KMOX this Saturday, 11 to 2, and thank you for inviting me. Steve, thank you.
Thank you, Scott. Thank you very much.